Hello, everyone. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining today. My name is Michaela Tamagi, and I am the University of Calgary Student Recruitment Advisor for students living in Southeast Asia, including Pakistan. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining. I'm just going to begin things today by starting a quick poll. So if you are able to see and hear, please select yes. If no, we can troubleshoot that in the chat. I'm just going to give about 10 seconds for you to do that, and then we will move on to the presentation. Looks like we have a few more people joining, so I will just leave this up for about 10 more seconds, but it seems like things are good so far. All right, sounds like we are all good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Again, while we're kind of waiting just a moment or two more for a few more students to join us, if you have a phone available and you're able to use it and you wouldn't mind, I'm just going to encourage you to scan the QR code on this screen. If you're not familiar with QR codes, all you do is open your phone's camera and hover it over the image that you see. Basically, this is going to take you to a form, and I'm hoping that you can fill in the information there. By filling in this information, it's going to add you to my email list, and it's just going to be a really great way for us to stay connected. If you've done that and you're waiting on us, please feel free to check out the file section in the webinar. You'll see that I think it's going to be on your right-hand side. There's just a couple of really great things for you to download from there, one of them being the International Student Viewbook and the other being an application walkthrough guide. Again, there's going to be really great resources if you do decide to apply at the University of Calgary. Just a couple of housekeeping notes. You are able to ask questions and things like that throughout the webinar, so please feel free to put those directly in the chat, and my lovely coworker, Yana, will answer those directly for you. You will also see several other opportunities for the presentation to scan QR codes, so if you wanted to learn a little bit more and maybe see a bit of what our university looks like, please feel free to do that. All right, well, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So as I mentioned, my name is Michaela. I'm here from the University of Calgary, and just really excited to share a bit about what the University of Calgary has to offer you as an incoming post-secondary student. Today, I'm going to be talking about a number of different things, including where the University of Calgary is located. I'm going to talk about the student experience here. I'll talk about admission requirements, programs, scholarships, and much more. So again, if you have questions, please feel free to put those in the chat, and my coworker, Yana, will answer those directly for you. All right, so chances are if you are here today, you've already considered studying abroad, and hopefully you've already taken some time to consider Canada. If you aren't familiar with Canada, there's a number of really exciting things to note about this country, especially for incoming international students. One of the main things being that we are the #1 country for quality of life in the entire world. I think that is largely due to the fact that we have such a great reputation for being very safe, stable, and friendly. But there's also some other really great advantages to consider. One of those great advantages being that if you are a full-time student on a valid study permit, you are able to work for up to 20 hours per week. And then if you are a graduate from a post-secondary institution in Canada, you can stay in the country for up to 3 more years. Or sorry, you'd be eligible to receive a work permit to stay in Canada for up to 3 more years. A lot of the times, international students will use that 3 years as a pathway to apply for permanent residency. Here we have a map showing where Calgary is in relation to a number of the other major cities throughout Canada. I know that a lot of the times the international students I talk to are a little bit more familiar with places like Vancouver or Toronto. While those are really great cities, I think there's some really great advantages to choosing Calgary specifically, and we're going to get into a lot of that later on in the presentation. One of my favorite questions to ask students is to see if they can kind of guess how large this country is by estimating how long it would take to drive from Calgary to Toronto. So I'm just going to launch a quick poll. Take a guess, see if you can figure out the distance from Calgary to Toronto. As a quick hint, it takes about 12 hours to drive from Calgary to Vancouver. Okay, so I see a few guesses for 18 hours and a few for 24. The correct answer is actually 48 hours. It's going to take roughly 4 days to drive from Calgary to Toronto. So as you can imagine, we are a very large country. Canada is actually the second largest geographic country in the entire world. Focusing in now on Alberta specifically. So Alberta is one of the 10 Canadian provinces. It's also the only province in Canada that does not have a provincial sales tax. That paired with the fact that we are one of the provinces with a very high minimum wage means that your money is going to go a lot further. It means that the cost of living is relatively low and just generally means that your money is going to go a lot further. So that's a really great thing. This is a province that is absolutely packed full of things to see and do. So located about an hour west of Calgary are the world famous Rocky Mountains. Now these mountains provide students with many opportunities to explore. So you can do things like hiking, skiing, snowboarding, skating, sledding, camping, whatever it is that's of interest to you, you can probably do it within these mountains. About an hour east of Calgary, there is another really cool destination. It's called Drumheller Provincial Park, also known as Dinosaur Provincial Park. So this is actually an area where a number of dinosaur bones and fossils were found, and that's another really great place to check out as a student. Okay, so focusing in now on Calgary. So the city of Calgary is an absolutely amazing city to visit, but not only that, it's a really wonderful place to call home. It has been ranked the 5th most livable city in the entire world and the #1 most livable city in all of North America. I think the reason that we have such a high ranking as far as livability is concerned is because there is something here for everyone. As far as employment opportunities after you graduate, there are numerous. So Calgary has actually been ranked a hub for the tech sector within Canada. So if you are a student that is interested in degrees such as computer science or engineering, just know that this is a really growing market for that industry. Calgary is also second in all of Canada as far as small businesses. So again, if you are interested in business or in entrepreneurship, there's going to be many, many opportunities for you once you graduate. There's actually several really noteworthy businesses throughout Canada, throughout Calgary, whose owners and operators actually attended the University of Calgary. My personal favorite thing about the city of Calgary, it has to be the weather. I know that a lot of the time students from Pakistan are actually a little bit nervous about what Calgary winters are like. However, I always like to set the record straight and just tell you that they're not as bad as they might appear to be. The winters are going to be a little bit cold, obviously, but you don't necessarily need to go outside. But the winter actually does afford a lot of different activities, so you can try new things and maybe see snow for the first time as well. Regardless of the time of year, it's important to note that Calgary is the sunniest major city in all of Canada. We actually get over 333 days of sun every single year, and that's a really positive thing for people's mental health, and it makes a beautiful backdrop to our city as well. So looking at the University of Calgary specifically, for those of you who are not very familiar with us, I think it is worth mentioning that we are one of the top universities in the world. We're actually ranked within the top 250 universities worldwide. From a Canadian perspective, we're also in the top 6 for Canadian research universities. As a research-focused university, you can expect to find a lot of hands-on learning opportunities. We try and get our students outside of the classroom as much as possible. We really integrate work and study abroad opportunities into our overall campus life as well. Here we have a shot of the University of Calgary campus from above. As you can see, it is a very beautiful campus and it's also very large. As a large university, population. One of the really amazing amenities that I like to draw students' attention to is the Taylor Family Digital Library, otherwise known as TFDL. Taylor Family Digital Library is the most technologically advanced library in all of North America. So within this building, you get access to nearly 8 million resources, as well as some truly exceptional study and collaboration spaces. So we have spaces such as a video audio editing suite, a virtual reality suite. There's tons of amazing study spaces, so private rooms that you can book out for individual study, or group spaces that you can also book for group projects and things like that. This is just one of the many incredible amenities on our campus. I would encourage you to scan the QR code if you are interested in getting a little bit more in-depth knowledge about the different buildings that we have and kind of seeing what these all look like. Just to make you familiar with the surrounding area of the university. So University of Calgary is very centrally located within the city. We're about a 10-minute train ride to the downtown core, and then about a 5-minute train ride to a grocery store and a number of other shopping areas. So there's a mall close by, there's restaurants and all sorts of things like that. Something that's worth mentioning is that you do get access to a U-Pass. So this is basically a pass that allows you to use all of the transit in the city. That's included within your student fees. You don't have to worry about paying any extra for transportation. It's going to be a really great way for you to get around the city. All right, so I'm going to transition now into talking a little bit about our student experience. Our student experience is what really draws in a number of students from around the world. I'm going to play a video about the day in the life of a student called Bobby. So I hope that you watch this and just feel inspired by her journey and that you can imagine yourself in her shoes.
My name's Bobby Bedard. I'm from St. Bruce, Saskatchewan, and I study kinesiology at UCalgary. I live on campus in Cascade Hall. Well, I enjoy it because it's really close to classes and I'm close to the services that UCalgary has to offer. I spend a lot of time in the kinesiology building, even when I'm not in class. I often study in the area overlooking the pool, and I exercise in the fitness center. My favorite classes involve learning about the body and human health, especially the hands-on labs. The profs in kinesiology are great. They go really into depth about the topics that are super interesting, and they're always ready to answer questions, and they have plenty of office hours to help out if you have anything you need. The faculty advisors in kinesiology have been really helpful. They provide information regarding which classes that I need to take and help me get enrolled in them. I came to UCalgary because the kinesiology faculty is highly rated, but I also came because of the city itself. One of my favorite things to do in the city is go to Princess Island Park when it's nice out and walk around and study. UCalgary also has a great sense of community. One of my favorite events is the Crowchild Classic hockey game between the UCalgary Dinos and the MRU Cougars, and they play at the Saddledome. I'd sum up my life at UCalgary as very busy but also very exciting. I think it's important to find a balance between school and the rest of your life.
All right, perfect. So as you can see from the video, there is plenty of opportunities to get involved on our campus. One of my favorite pieces of advice to give incoming university students is that you obviously need to spend lots of time studying, but you also need to remember to have fun and to really take the chance to get involved on campus. Getting involved is going to make your university years a lot more memorable, so please just remember that. We provide students with many opportunities to engage with interesting leadership and volunteering initiatives. We have so many amazing events throughout the year as well, so I would definitely encourage you to check those out. When I was a student at the University of Calgary, my favorite event was probably the Crowchild Classic. I think Bobby mentioned that in the video. It's basically a big hockey game between the University of Calgary Dinos and the Mount Royal Cougars. It draws in thousands of post-secondary students around the city of Calgary, and it's a really fun opportunity to show your school spirit. As far as other ways to get involved, clubs are a great way to do this. I'm just going to encourage you to, again, scan the QR code on the slide. This is going to take you to a page that provides lots of different information about the clubs that are available. Yana's also going to post the link to our clubs page in the chat, so you can kind of see if there's something that's of interest to you. We do have over 300 student clubs available, so it is more than likely something that's going to pique your interest. I would highly encourage you to consider joining clubs, though. It's going to be a really great way to meet students. You can join clubs that are for various interest areas, so for things like hiking or photography, board games, there's clubs for that. You can also join clubs that are based around academics, so maybe you're in engineering and you wanted to join an engineering club. We have the option for that as well. There is also a Pakistani Students Association. So again, if you're worried about meeting students that are similar to you or that share similar interests and backgrounds, please don't worry, as we have a club for that as well. University of Calgary is home to the dinos. So essentially anybody that becomes one of our students becomes a dino. The dinos is basically the mascot that we go by. The name of our mascot is Rex. You can see him pictured on the slide. The Dinos is also the name of all of our varsity sports teams. So varsity sports are basically those sports that are played at a competitive level. If you are interested in playing sports at a competitive level, I would just encourage you to go to godinos.com. This is going to be a great place to get connected to the coaches and to learn how you can maybe try out for one of the teams. If you're not an athlete or you're not interested in playing sports competitively, don't worry. I would still encourage you to consider attending Dinos games. This is going to be a really fun way to, again, kind of show your school spirit at the University of Calgary and to start meeting peers as well. I mentioned on the last slide, but if you're not interested in playing sports at a competitive level, we do provide opportunities for you to play sports in more of a fun environment. Getting active at the University of Calgary is highly encouraged, regardless of who you are. Research actually shows that students who are active are a lot more likely to do better in their courses. And we actually really provide all of the amenities that you could ever dream of in order to do this. Not only do we have a world-class gym and all of the weights and treadmills and things like that that you could ever want, but we also have other amenities such as an aquatic center, a gymnastics center, the outdoor center, which is the largest of its kind in North America. On the slide, you are going to be seeing the Olympic Oval. So the Olympic Oval is actually a building on campus that was built for the 1988 Olympics, which were hosted in Calgary. It contains North America's fastest ice surface, and it is free for students to skate on during designated hours. So maybe you're interested in learning how to skate or just improving your skills, or skating as a way to get active. You're highly encouraged to do that regardless. If you're looking to make University of Calgary even more of a home, you might want to consider living on campus with us. We have a variety of single and double rooms available, mostly double rooms, as students in their first couple years are encouraged to match with roommates, as this can be a great way to meet other students. There's a 2-year residence guarantee, so as long as you're applying by May 1st of your application year, please just note that you are going to have a guaranteed place to live on campus for 2 years. First-year students are basically required to be on the meal plan. However, that's not a bad thing because the food is very healthy and it's very delicious as well. It's also diet friendly. So if you are halal, vegetarian, gluten-free, dairy-free, whatever it is, we can work to accommodate that. There's a number of great advantages to consider as far as living on campus is concerned. I know for myself, I lived on campus for nearly my entire undergraduate degree. And again, as I mentioned before, it is one of the best ways to meet other students, and it's so much fun. There's going to be a variety of events that are happening in residence that other students won't get access to, so things like community dinners, different social gatherings, and a lot more. I know for myself, when I came to university, I had no idea that there was as much support available as there is. I truly thought that university was just a place where you went to do your courses, and that's kind of where it ended. In reality, there is many people at the university who are working on your behalf, and they're all part of these unique support teams. So you can see several of the support teams noted on the slide. A couple that I'll draw your attention to are going to be career services and wellness services. So career services is going to be the team of individuals that will support students with things like interview preparation, resume writing workshops, and one-on-one career advising. At some point throughout your degree, you will probably be looking into either your options after you graduate as far as employment is concerned, or you might be looking to get a job during your degree. You might be looking to participate in co-op or internship, something along those lines. This team is really going to be there to support you with all of that and much more. Student wellness services. So this is basically a group of offices that we have available on campus for things like counseling. We have pharmacy, we have doctor, we have dentist, there's chiropractor, all of that and much more. So if you're someone who's sick or you need help or support in some aspect for your mental health, again, please note that we have that support available for you here. One of the most important supports for international student services, or for international students to be aware of, is International Student Services, otherwise known as ISS. ISS is going to be the team that you can reach out to if you have any questions at all about the study permit application. So just remembering that if you are to apply to a Canadian university and offered admission, you will need to apply for a study permit. You can reach out to them with any questions that you have about that. International Student Services will also act as a hub for international students once you arrive on our campus. So they're going to be a really great resource for you as far as feeling connected to other international students, as well as the larger University of Calgary community. They're going to host things like sightseeing trips and social events, so make sure that you watch out for those once you arrive here. Okay, so just going to transition now into the academic side of things, as I know that this is what a lot of you were kind of looking to hear about. I mentioned before, but University of Calgary has been ranked amongst the world's top post-secondary institutions. So we're in the top 250 universities in the world. And I think the main reason for that ranking is largely because we are focused specifically on getting students outside of the classroom or engaging in hands-on learning opportunities. So our learning is very experiential, it's very research-focused, and it's also very entrepreneurial in its approach. Our main mission as a university is really to create students who are critical thinkers and problem solvers, and that's going to be very evident to you as you start your courses. Now, if you're a student who's applying from high school, there are 8 faculties that you can apply into. So you can see those noted here on the slide. While there's obviously no pressure to decide right now, as I completely understand that this is a huge decision, I am interested to hear if there is a faculty that you are considering applying into. So we have the Faculty of Arts, we have the Faculty of Science, Haskayne School of Business, Schulich School of Engineering, Faculty of Kinesiology, the Workland School of Education, the Faculty of Nursing, and the Cummings School of Medicine. So I'm seeing some specific interest in business. I'm seeing some are interested in science. Some are interested in health science. That's one of the degrees offered within our Cummings School of Medicine. Yeah, and that looks to be it so far. Some are unsure. That's great. So again, keeping in mind, if you are unsure, that's totally normal. This is a huge decision, so make sure that you are doing all the research that you need to and asking all of the questions that you need to as well. My team and myself, we're all here to support you with that. So if you have any questions, make sure that you ask those. Now, within our 8 faculties, we have over 250 program combinations. When you apply to the University of Calgary, you actually get to make 2 programs, or you get to make 2 choices for your application. So the first program would be the one that you want the most, and the second program is the one that you were interested in, but that has an average that might be a little bit more realistic to your current grades. You are going to basically start studying in the program that you are admitted into. So that's something that is good to make note of. We don't have like a general first year unless you go into engineering specifically. But for all our other programs, you're going to be studying what you're interested in right away. So within those 200 program combinations, there is a lot of different ways to customize. So you might be interested in choosing a minor in an upper year. You might be interested in doing an embedded certificate, or we also have the option to do a combined degree. Combined degrees are going to basically be the opportunity to complete 2 degrees within 5 years, whereas a normal degree with us would take 4 years to complete. One of our most popular combined degree programs is going to be our Bachelor of Engineering combined with our Bachelor of Commerce. This is a unique program within Canada. It's a really great option for students who recognize the value of having a background in both engineering and commerce. Just a reminder that we do live in an increasingly complex world, and so having skills from multiple areas can make you a lot more competitive in the job market. So something to consider if you are a multi-passionate person. The following slides are going to outline the different programs that we do offer within our faculties. I'm just going to flip through these quickly, but I am going to ask Yana just to link our Explore Programs website in the chat. Through this website, you will be able to browse through all of the different programs that we offer and see if there is something that piques your interest. Again, with 250 program combinations, I think there should be something for everyone. But if you have any questions about a program that you might be interested in but that you don't see, please just ask us, because we can always point you in the right direction and see if there's something that would be a best fit. If you're looking for other ways to further enhance your degree at the University of Calgary, I would highly recommend looking into our work integrated learning program. Now, for work integrated learning, this isn't something that you apply into in the first year, but it is an option that you have available once you're in your second year or higher. Co-ops and internships are particularly interesting. These are available to students who are in the faculties of art, science, engineering, or business. These are interesting because they are paid work experience. So basically, you get to learn and really add value to your degree while you were making money, and at a relatively competitive wage, I would mention. I know for myself, I was never lucky enough to do a co-op or internship opportunity, but I do have several friends that were in the computer science program at the University of Calgary. They did 16-week internships at a local Calgary company, and they actually went on to obtain full-time employment with that specific employer once they graduated. So plenty of opportunity to make meaningful connection that can be very valuable to you once you graduate. If you're not in the faculties of art, science, engineering, or business, there are many other ways to get involved and to have a work experience throughout your degree. That might look like a practicum. It might look like a paid research opportunity. If you're wanting to learn more about the opportunities that are available to you in your faculty, again, please feel free to ask us. I am personally a graduate from the Workland School of Education here at the University of Calgary, so I was able to participate in practicum opportunities throughout my degree. This was a really, really beneficial experience for me, and I found it was probably the best way to learn and to gain the experience I needed to be successful as a teacher once I graduated. Another incredible way to add value to your degree during your time with us is to consider study abroad. Again, I know for myself that I am very passionate about travel, and so if that is you too, if you're the adventurous type, you love to explore different places and cultures, just know that our study abroad program is absolutely amazing. Perhaps you're considering studying in a different country, or maybe you're considering sticking close to home. That's totally great, but just know that if you do choose University of Calgary, you have the option of participating in a study abroad opportunity in one of 45 countries. So you can study here and have an experience in a different country at the same time. I would encourage you to scan the QR code on the bottom left of the screen if you are interested in learning more. You can browse through all of the different opportunities that are available. Some of them are more budget friendly than others, but there is a variety of placements that you can choose from. And so yeah, do take a look at that. Okay, so looking now at how to become a University of Calgary student, as I know that this is what a lot of you are kind of here to learn. So as far as applying to the University of Calgary, we make it a relatively simple process. You do need to submit an application through our website. For fall 2022, the application is going to open up on October 1st. You'll have until March 1st of 2022 to submit the application, but I would really encourage you just to apply early. Applying early has a lot of benefits, including the fact that you can take advantage of early admissions. I'll get into that in a few slides as well. But basically, once you've submitted the application, you're going to be required to pay an application fee. It's 145 Canadian dollars for students with international credentials. And then after that, you're going to provide your high school transcripts and your proof of English language proficiency in your student center. Again, on this application, you are able to make two choices. So the first program being the one that you want the most. The second program being something that you are still interested in, but that has a slightly lower admitting average. I mentioned that all students are required to demonstrate English language proficiency. So at the University of Calgary, there are 3 ways to meet this requirement. The first one would be to complete 3 years of study at a high school that is accredited to offer American, Canadian, or British curriculum. The second way is to present one of the approved English language tests. So something like an IELTS, a TOEFL, or a Duolingo would be appropriate. The third and final way is to complete the Academic Communication Certificate, and this is a program that is offered through the University of Calgary. It's going to be a semester-long program and is really intended for students who are maybe a little bit worried about their English language skills. If that describes you, please do get in touch with us and we can connect you to the proper team and help you to learn a bit more about that program. So as far as our evaluation process is concerned, we do make it relatively straightforward at the University of Calgary. Admission into the vast majority of our programs is going to be based on 5 faculty-specific high school subjects, as well as what your average is in those 5 subjects. Again, for the vast majority of our programs, we're not considering any other information. So we don't look at entrance exams, we don't look at personal statements, there's no references that are required. Please don't provide these in your with your documents. They won't be reviewed and it will essentially be a waste of your time. We don't want to waste your time. There are a few programs at the University of Calgary that require a supplementary application. So for health science, there is a supplementary essay, and for fine arts, there's either auditions or portfolios. Again, we can provide more detail on the specifics of those if you are interested in one of those programs, but just really making note that for the vast majority of our programs, we're really just looking to see if you have the 5 required courses, as well as if you can meet the competitive average. Again, on that Explore Programs website that Yana shared the link to, you're going to be able to see what the required courses are for your desired program, as well as what the estimated competitive average is. I say estimated competitive average because as a competitive university, we're always taking the most competitive applicants. And so we always just provide an estimate because the average might be slightly higher or slightly lower. This slide outlines a couple of the different programs and what the requirements might be. So typically, if you're applying into one of our arts programs, the requirements will be a little bit more general. So we'll always be looking for English at the grade 12 level. It doesn't matter what program you're applying into. But for example, for the Bachelor of Arts in Law and Society, we're going to be looking for English, 3 approved courses, and then a 5th approved course or option. The estimated competitive average for this program is in the mid-70s. You can refer to our website to see a list of approved courses and approved options as well. A program such as the Bachelor of Science in Engineering is going to have a more specific set of requirements. So for this program, we're looking for English, pre-calculus, calculus, chemistry, and then physics or biology. As one of our more competitive programs, the estimated competitive average is going to be in the mid-80s. So again, if you are a student who's got about mid-80s or higher, you should be a competitive applicant for this program. So just a few more examples of programs that we offer and their unique requirements. So the Bachelor of Kinesiology, the 5 required courses are going to be English, pre-calculus, chemistry, biology, and 1 approved course or option. Again, this program is quite competitive, so we're looking for an estimated competitive average in the high 80s. A quick plug for our kinesiology program. It is actually the #1 sports medicine program in all of North America. So if you are someone who's interested in sports medicine, this is a really great program to choose. The Faculty of Kinesiology is also a great example of the high quality research opportunities that we offer here at the university. Within this faculty, they actually have done some fascinating research and some really interesting opportunities for students to engage with. I know at one point they tested a pair of David Beckham's soccer cleats, and they've also done concussion research for the NFL. So some really cool opportunities there. Another example, our Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. This is probably one of our more popular programs right now. I mentioned earlier in the presentation, but this is a very up-and-coming industry in Calgary. Calgary is really a hub for the tech and innovation sector, so computer science degrees are highly sought after at the moment. The required courses for this program are going to be English, mathematics, 2 sciences, and an approved course or option, and the estimated competitive average is in the high 80s. All right, so you might be wondering if you are a student who is currently in grade 12 or you're completing your final year of high school, whatever that might be, perhaps you're doing your A-levels if you're a GCE student, or maybe you're working towards writing your HSC Part 2. We can review you as is. You don't need to be done grade 12. You just need to wait for the application to open, and you're basically going to provide the transcripts that you have available at the time. If you apply in October, you'll more than likely only have grade 11 marks available. This is fine. We can evaluate you using the grade 11 counterpart to the required grade 12 course. But essentially what would happen is you would be issued a conditional offer of admission. Conditional offers mean that you need to maintain your average. You do need to complete all of the required courses in your program. You need to submit any outstanding documents that are needed to finalize your offer, and you do need to graduate from high school. If you have more questions specifically on what that means, again, please feel free to ask us in the chat. Another thing that I'll say is that at the University of Calgary, we do provide students with we do evaluate students more than once. So if you apply in October, all you have available is grade 11 grades. You would actually need to meet a slightly higher average in order to be offered admission at that point. If you don't meet that criteria right away, what we'll actually do is put your application on hold and we'll request your first semester grades or your midterm marks. So we can actually evaluate you a couple times. If you're not admissible based on the midterm grades, there's a chance that we might be able to review you based on final marks, but it would really depend on the space available in the program at that time. Oftentimes it's a bit too late. So we're really hoping that we can issue at least a conditional offer based on midterm marks and that we can finalize your offer later on based on your final grades. All right, so transitioning now into the final part of our webinar, I'm just going to speak briefly about the awards that we have available. I know that one of the main questions I get from international students is whether you are eligible for awards or not. The answer is yes, you are absolutely eligible. We give away nearly $17 million or over $17 million at the University of Calgary. And I always tell students to think about this money as being part of 3 buckets. So the first bucket of money is going to be automatic admission awards. Automatic admission awards are those that you do not need to apply for, so you will automatically be considered for these awards once you have applied for admission. The main one that I want to make you aware of is the President Admission Scholarship. So this is valued at 5,000 Canadian dollars, and it is available to any entering first-year student with an admission average of 95% or greater. The other one that you should be aware of, but if you're not an IB student, it's not necessarily applicable to you, is our IB Entrance Award. So if you have an overall score of 35 or greater, we can actually issue you a $2,000 award. Now, the rest of our scholarships do require applications, but we make it simple in that there's only 2 applications to submit. So the next application, or the first application that I want to make you aware of, is for Prestige Awards. So Prestige Awards, there's a few different ones that international students can qualify for. These awards are going to be based on things like academic merit specifically. The University of Calgary International Entrance Scholarship is housed underneath the Prestige Awards application. Its value is 20,000 Canadian dollars, and it is renewable for up to 4 years. So you could be looking at a total award value of 80,000. Now we give away nearly 30 of these 30 awards per year within the International Entrance Scholarship, and about 4 to 5 of those are going to be renewable. So yeah, that's a relatively large sum of money that can go a long ways towards financing your education, so definitely a good idea to submit this application. The next application I want to make you aware of is our High School Entrance Awards. So High School Entrance Awards is where we consider things like academic performance, extracurriculars, and also your financial need. This is a relatively straightforward application, so you're just asked to answer a few different questions, about 15 or so. And by submitting this one application, you're going to be considered for many, many different awards that kind of fall under this category. This chart does a really good job at summarizing the awards that we have available. So a reminder that we have automatic admission awards, high school entrance awards, and prestige awards. You do not need to apply for automatic admission awards as you will be automatically reviewed for those, but you do need to submit an application for high school entrance awards, and you do need to submit an application for prestige awards. By submitting those 2 applications, it does essentially make you eligible to be reviewed for many, many different awards. The application for High School Entrance Awards is going to be on March 1st, and the application for Prestige Awards is going to be on December 1st. So that one's a lot earlier, meaning it's a good idea to apply as early as you can within our admissions cycle. Since I am well aware that money is a very important part of deciding what university to attend, it's really important to consider that there are several, or really thousands of institutions and organizations around the world that are also going to provide scholarship money. There is quite a bit of money available through the University of Calgary specifically, but if you are at all worried about finances, I would highly encourage you to do some research and see what else is available around the world. You can start this process by going to ucalgary.ca/awards. Yana will link that in the chat, but it's a really great, our website's a really great resource for starting some of this research and seeing, it will allow you to kind of see what other types of money are out there. Again, with money on the mind, as I know that this is a large part of how students decide where to attend post-secondary. You can see our estimated fees outlined here. So for international students, the estimated tuition fees are going to be around 23,000 Canadian dollars per year. And we do tell students to budget around an additional $10,000 to pay for the cost of living. If you have compared University of Calgary's tuition to other universities across Canada, as well as institutions in the United States, our tuition is probably one of the most affordable. I think that really says a lot. Your money is going to go a lot further here, and you still get high quality and highly recognized instruction and all of that good stuff as well. If you're looking to see specific program fees for something that you're interested in, please do scan the QR code. It will take you to our undergraduate student cost estimator, and this is a great place to check out the breakdown of the fees that you can expect to pay. All right, so I just wanted to take a moment to outline a bit or recap a bit about the application process and highlight a few important dates for you. So right now, the application for fall 2022 is not open. So it's a really good idea to start exploring your different options and to reach out if you have questions about a program. The application will open up on October 1st, and you can find that available in our Student Center. Now, once you've applied for admission, you will get access to a Student Center. The Student Center is going to be a place where you can monitor the progress of your application, as well as upload the documents that we are asking from you in order to evaluate you. So things like your high school transcripts and your proof of English language proficiency, you can upload those directly in your Student Center. You'll have until March 15th to provide those documents and until March 1st to submit your application, but I would really, really encourage you to apply as early as you can. I mentioned before, but we have a rolling admissions process, which means that as soon as your application is deemed to be complete, we can actually evaluate you and potentially issue you a final offer if you're done high school or a conditional offer if you're still completing high school. The other benefit to applying early is that you can apply for all of our scholarships in time. So a reminder that the application for Prestige Awards is December 1st, and the application for High School Entrance Awards is March 1st. Another date that I'll just highlight quickly, if you are offered admission at the University of Calgary, in most cases, the deadline to accept your offer and pay the admission deposit is going to be May 1st. Okay, so I feel like I have covered a lot of information today, and I think that there are many, many, many good reasons to choose the University of Calgary, but I wanted just to recap 5 of the top reasons that you should consider as far as choosing University of Calgary. Number 1, excellent academics. So we are within the top 250 institutions in the world, and we offer 250 program choices. This is a very comprehensive university with so much to offer students as far as instruction and content. Number 2, research opportunities. So as a top 6 Canadian research university, all students, regardless of the faculty that you're interested in, are going to have an opportunity to engage in research. Research projects can be a really great way to develop your critical thinking and problem-solving skills. If you're not interested in research, being a research-focused institution also ensures that the professors that are teaching you are going to be experts in their field, and again, just really contributes to that high-quality instruction that you're going to experience. Number 3, a caring community. So despite the fact that University of Calgary is a large university, we are really able to maintain a small campus feel simply because of all of the great supports that we have available and all of the opportunities we have for students to engage in different ways, whether that be through events, clubs, and just different initiatives such as that. Number 4, the opportunity to earn while you learn. We have an incredible co-op and internship program across our faculties of art, science, engineering, and business, as well as practicums and work and research opportunities for all of our students. Again, co-ops and internships are going to be paid work experience, and they're going to be highly meaningful to you as far as finding employment once you graduate. Last but not least, number 5, an adventurous lifestyle. So University of Calgary is located within an hour of the world famous Rocky Mountains, as well as located in a province that is home to 5 national parks. There are some incredible opportunities for adventure near our university. While your number 1 goal in choosing a university might be choosing it based on the academics, affordability, student experience, all of those things, being close to bucket list destinations is also going to be a huge, huge thing in my eyes. I know that me living close to the Rocky Mountains is an absolute blessing. I love it, and I visit them nearly every weekend if I can. If you're looking to connect with me after today's presentation, perhaps we're not able to answer your question, or maybe you just think of something later on, please note that you can connect with me at seasia.recruiter@ucalgary.ca. Remember that students in Pakistan do fall under the Southeast Asia recruitment. I'm also available on WhatsApp, and I'm also available to take one-on-one appointments with students. If you are looking to make a one-on-one appointment, the first step is just to email me, and I can send you the link, or you'll also find it in the auto reply that you receive. All right, so I know that Yana has been answering your questions as we've gone along, but perhaps I'll just touch base with her quickly. She can let me know if there was any questions that she wasn't able to answer. I do see a question at the top of the chat, and it's asking if you can apply through the UOC portal. That's a great question. So unfortunately, no, you cannot. UOC, so OUAC, that's actually going to be an application for the students who are living, or the students who want to apply to Ontario universities. Ontario is a province in Canada, but we're in the province of Alberta, so we have a completely different application process. If Yana can find it, I would just ask her to link the application, or the link to where you can apply at the top of the chat. A reminder that you won't be able to apply until October 1st, but on that date you'll be able to apply through our website. So Yana, if you can find that, that'd be awesome. If not, I'm more than happy to link that there as well. Perfect. I'm just going to give you guys a few more minutes if there's any other questions that you can think of. While I'm doing that, I'm just going to play one final video for you. I feel this is a really nice way to end the presentation. This video really captures the University of Calgary spirit. It'll show you some of the great sites around our campus. And so I hope that you are able to imagine yourself on our campus, and that you feel excited about the possibility of becoming one of our students.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow is not just an idea or a dream.
It's the promise of a new day and a better world. Tomorrow belongs to the changemakers and the risk takers, the passionate, the daring, and the bold.
This is our tomorrow. All of us, together.
This is where and how we live, shaped by our community, our neighbors, our friends, and our rivals.
Shaped by those who challenge us to think bigger, move faster, and achieve more. By those who came before us and fashioned this university from sheer determination.
We're pioneers at heart, innovators by necessity, and community builders because, well, we're from Calgary, where that legendary can-do spirit has blossomed into a will-do commitment.
And like Calgary, this university attracts people from around the world with ambitious dreams and the courage to fulfill them.
We educate students to become community builders. We conduct research that changes the world. And we enhance the intellectual, social, and cultural landscape of our region.
It's true. Our campuses draw disruptors, instigators, and challengers of convention. Those who seek and share answers to society's greatest challenges. Because tomorrow demands global attention to challenges we can only begin to imagine.
Tomorrow our students are preparing for now, and our researchers are striving to understand.
A tomorrow we're ready to face, fueled by the energy and passion of our students, postdoctoral scholars, faculty, staff, alumni, donors, and cherished friends.
By discovering and creating new ideas that have a meaningful impact on the world around us, we can improve our world and deliver the promise of a new tomorrow together.
Awesome. So I was talking to Yana, and I'm just going to share a couple of slides that are specific to students who are doing the GCE curriculum. At this point in the presentation, there's not going to be a ton of new information. So if you don't have any other questions or everything was clear, please feel free to leave the webinar. Thank you so much for your time. But if you wanted to stick around, you have other questions, please do stay. So just give me a moment. I'm just going to find some slides that are specific to GCE. Okay, so speaking to GCE, so if you were a student doing British curriculum, basically we're still going to be looking for 5 required courses. To make up the correct combination of 5 courses, we can use one of 2 combinations. So we can use 2 A levels and 3 O levels, or we can use 4 AS level subjects and 1 O level. Unfortunately, if all you have available is the O levels or the IGCSEs, you won't be admissible to the University of Calgary. So if you're just doing O levels right now, you need to do either 4 AS levels or 1 O level. Or no, sorry, 2 A levels. So again, that combination is 2 A levels with 3 O levels, or 4 AS level subjects with 1 O level. Now, again, if you are in progress, say your exams for either A levels or AS levels are going to be later in the year, what we would ask you to do when you apply is to submit your exam board issued O-level grades as well as your predicted school issued grades. So there was a question in the chat that was specifically about the advanced subsidiary grades. You need to basically provide predicted grades and we can go about evaluating you. As far as English language proficiency is concerned for students who are doing the British curriculum, there's a couple of different things to keep in mind. So we can waive this requirement for students who are doing, if you did 3 years within the British curriculum in high school, so that would mean that you did your O levels and that you are completing A levels, since A levels typically take the 2 years to complete, we can waive that requirement for you. Now, if you're only going as high as AS level, unfortunately, we can't automatically waive that requirement. But if you did get a grade of A or B in your English first language course, we are able to waive that requirement. We cannot waive the English language proficiency requirement for English as a second language. So if you have English as a second language or you have less than an A or B in English first language, in that situation, you would be required to provide an English test, so something like an IELTS or a TOEFL. If that's not 100% clear, please do send me an email at seasia.recruiter, and I would be happy to follow up with that in a few days from now. Okay, just double checking to see if there's more questions. While I'm just kind of checking the questions, I just wanted to go back to a few different slides. Just give me 1 second here. Perhaps during this time, Yana, if you wouldn't mind just messaging me and letting me know if there's any questions that you wanted me to address, more than happy to do that. I'm just going to put the form to my lead capture up again. I put this up at the beginning of the presentation. Actually, maybe I will not do that. What I'm going to do instead, I'm going to talk about our open house. And I'll share my lead capture again after. So open house, just as another plug, this is an event happening on October 2nd, and it's going to happen from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you are interested in registering, please scan the QR code. That'll take you to a registration page. Open house is basically going to be an opportunity to learn even more about the University of Calgary. So there will be a variety of digital tours that are happening, as well as a faculty fair and some discovery sessions. So a great opportunity to learn more in depth about what we offer. I mentioned that the tours are digital, the entire event is digital, so students from all over the world can attend. Keeping in mind that the 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. is Calgary time, so you're just going to want to convert that into your time zone. If you're also interested in seeing what other events we have available, you can scan the QR code on this slide, and this will take you to our upcoming events and campus tours page. Okay, so just checking in. So I see there was a question. I'm completing my HSSC. What will the requirements be for me to apply? And is it possible to get into UCalgary if my grades are a little lower? Okay, so if you are completing your HSSC, basically, for all of our programs, there's going to be 5 specific faculty requirements. So we did link the Explore Programs website earlier in the presentation. I can send that over to you right now in the chat, or maybe, Anna, if you don't mind, you can post that in the sticky notes section. So you can refer to the Explore Programs website, and you'll see the 5 specific courses that we need from you. Basically, we're just looking for you to complete those at the grade 12 level. Another option is to check the Files section, and you can download our International Student Viewbook. You'll be able to see all of the required courses through there as well. Another question, so for the engineering program, what is the mid-80s equivalent to for A-levels grading system? Great question. So unfortunately, we don't have a breakdown of what this looks like on for GCE students as far as what we're looking for, but I can definitely tell you mid-80s is going to be mostly A's and some B's, so definitely a more competitive program. Okie dokie. I think that looks like everything as far as questions are concerned, but I'm going to give another moment before I end the webinar. Again, if you did not get a chance to do this at the beginning of the presentation, please do scan the QR code and just fill out that form. It's a really great way for us to stay connected, and I would really appreciate that. I won't send you tons of emails, I promise. You'll only receive about 3 from me. And of course, if you decide to ask a question or book a meeting, we can correspond a lot more. Okay, so I see a question. I'm just going to address that one. So someone's saying my subjects in A-levels are math, chemistry, and physics. I believe math covers your calculus requirement. So can you apply to the engineering course? Great question. So if you are doing A-level mathematics, yes, it does cover the requirement for mathematics and calculus. So if you have chemistry, physics, and math at the A-level, you would more than likely be meeting the required courses, but we would definitely need English within your O-level. So hopefully you have that. Also good to check out the website for students who are doing GCE. We can't accept certain grades for O-levels, so let me just double check, but I believe if you have a D or E in any of your O-level courses, we won't be able to use those towards admission, so just keeping that in mind. I gave my A-level exam in Urdu and got B, so is this acceptable or not? Yeah, we can use a B. And Urdu would basically be used as like an approved course. So just as long as the program you're applying to has an approved course as one of the requirements, we'd be able to use that there. But we really can't tell you whether or not you'd be admissible for sure. You do need to apply in order to, we need to basically see how you compare to the other applicants. Oh, okay, there's a question about COVID vaccines. So unfortunately, I don't think our team is the best equipped to answer that. You know, for the most part, Canadians are getting Pfizer or Moderna, but it's a really good idea to connect with our international student services team if you have questions about anything to do with the requirements of what our Canadian government is looking for. So I mentioned international student services early in the presentation. You can reach out to them with any of those questions. Their email is iss@ucalgary.ca. I'm just going to type that in the chat right now. So anything to do with study permits or the process of coming into Canada, I would highly recommend reaching out to international services. This is going to be kind of your best source for the up-to-date information that is required. All right, so I'm going to give about 10 more seconds for any other questions. And if there are none, again, you can contact me via email if you think of something later on. WhatsApp me. Okay, so someone's saying, is Urdu A-level accepted where it says any approved course? Let me just double check one thing really quick. I believe we should be able to use that, but I want to just make sure. Yeah, so on my end, I see that languages other than English can be used as an approved course. So yes, we would be able to use Urdu if the program you're applying into is requiring an approved course. Okay, so someone's asking, my subjects in A-levels are business, sociology, and Urdu. Will be able to apply into business program. If you're kind of wondering about like the specifics of whether your courses are going to qualify you for admission, please send me an email. It's just easier to kind of see it in that setting. But do send me an email, seasia.recruiter@ucalgary.ca, and I can follow up with you. That should be fine, but I need to take a closer look at the requirements. So someone's saying, I would like to confirm that I can apply with 11th grade except expected grades as I have my exams in winter. So I'm a little confused by that question just because in order to apply, if you're doing the Pakistani curriculum, you would need to be in progress to complete your grade 12. Okay, but you can definitely apply, like if you are in grade 12 right now, and you apply in October, you can provide your HSC Part 1 and we can evaluate you based on that. If you're not admissible based on that, we would look at your midterm grade 12 grades, and that's okay if you provide the HSC Part 2 later on. So someone's saying, is it important to enroll in more than 3 courses to be considered for the major applying? Okay, so I believe this question is referring to the number of courses that you take in a term here at the University of Calgary. So as far as your study permit is concerned, taking 3 courses would classify you as a full-time student. However, it does depend on the faculty that you're applying into. It's often possible to take less than 3 courses, but you would need to speak directly to the faculty of interest and see if that is something they can accommodate. Sometimes you are required to take more. Like I know in engineering specifically, you can't take 3. You need to take the full load of 5 courses. But definitely, yeah, you can email me and I can connect you with the faculty. Okay, so just as a follow-up to Fahad's question, yes, if you're completing A-levels, then yes, you can apply. You would just need to apply with your exam board issued O-level results and your predicted grades. And it's okay if we have the final marks later, as long as we can get the final transcript for your A-levels or the final exam board issued results by August. So this is a question, does the University of Calgary accept SAT scores? SATs are not required for admission. So if you're referring to SAT 1, so that being the evidence-based writing and reading, and your math 1, we wouldn't really use that for admission in any case. But if you do have SAT 2, so the subject test results, you're welcome to provide those and we can see if they'll benefit your application in any way. A question, are gap year students at a disadvantage when they apply? No, you are not. As long as you meet the requirements and you can meet the estimated competitive average, we do not care how much time you took off. Okie dokie. Okay, so great questions, everyone. I'll just stick around until, let's say 9:05, so get your questions in by then. So someone's saying, if my expected grades are 3 A's but I get 1 B, will my offer be revoked? Okay, so a great question. So basically it depends on a few different things. So the competitive average for our programs is going to shift slightly throughout the cycle. So chances are if you get 1 B, your offer will not be revoked, but you do need to often be within about a 5% range of what the final average kind of comes out to be. So hard to say now. We do really, like the advice that we give students is to maintain their average. So if you are admitted based on, so let's say you have 2 A's in your O levels, and then you have 2 A's and a B in your A levels. The expectation would be that you maintain those predicted grades. So that's really the best advice I can give you, is to do your best. We won't be able to say anything for sure until we have kind of all of the applications in and we've kind of set what the average is going to be. But you would find out once you submitted the final marks. All right, great questions, everyone. I'm going to wait just a few more seconds for questions to come in. I want to say thank you so much for your time today and for asking all of these amazing questions. Just going to put my email directly into the chat, so if I don't have a chance to answer this today, or answer you today, or you think of something later on, please send me an email. I would love to hear from you. So seasia.recruiter@ucalgary.ca, and again, that seasia.recruiter, that covers students living in Pakistan. Okay. So couple more questions. Someone saying, I have 7 A's in my O levels or my IGCSEs. So if my A-level grades are not good, will I have a chance to be admitted? Okay, so as far as our evaluation, it's important to remember that we are specifically looking at the 5 required courses for admission. So if you're a student, say you're wanting to apply into engineering, we're going to be looking for English, mathematics, calculus, chemistry, and then physics or biology. For students doing GCE curriculum, we're looking for 2 A levels and 3 O levels. So if you have 7 A's, just keep in mind that we need to pull the proper courses from your O-levels to meet the requirements. But having three A's is probably going to make you a competitive applicant. Again, we can't guarantee admission because the averages do change. It's competitive, so we're always going to take the most competitive applicants. The best advice I can really give you is to make sure you're shooting for as high of marks as possible in those A-level courses, and then doing your best to maintain your average. Another question that's very similar, so if you don't have A's in O-level and A-level, can this secure the admission? So University of Calgary is a competitive university, so you're always going to want to make sure you apply into a program that is realistic to your grades. What we do tell students is to make the first choice on your application the one that you want the most, and then the second choice should be something that you are interested in studying, but that has a slightly lower admission average. You might still be admissible to the program that you want, even if you don't have straight A's. It's not necessarily required to have straight A's, but having higher grades is going to make you more likely to get into the program that you want. All right. So someone's saying, if I apply in health science, will I be admitted with having 4 A's and 4 B's in my O-levels? Again, I cannot offer pre-evaluation, so please do refer to the Explore Programs website. This will show you the estimated competitive average for your desired program, and this is going to help you to understand whether you're going to be a competitive applicant. Awesome. And again, like if you have A's, that's probably going to make you competitive, but I unfortunately can't guarantee anything. We will just have to see how your application ranks in comparison to the other applications. Someone's saying, do we have to give an SAT for admission? No, you do not. There are no entrance exams that are required. The only instance where, if you have SAT subject tests, again, these are not required, but you're welcome to provide them with your application, and we can see if it will advantage your application or be an advantage to your application anyway. Okay, I think I'm going to end things there as I do need to get going. I have a different commitment I have to get to, but thank you again for your time. I hope you have a wonderful day. Please follow up in an email if there's anything else. Email or WhatsApp is completely fine with me, so whatever is best for you, but I would just ask that you choose one because it gets confusing if I have inquiries to both from the same students. So thank you so much. Have an amazing day.